Welcome back. Y'all, it is actually officially week 5. Now, okay. This video is gonna it starts a little, not starts, but it's gonna come out later than usual. Like it's gonna come out probably while the game is still going. So, yeah, that's just notifications. Like, the game is literally about to start as I'm doing this, and that's why I already have the commies picked for this. But I have to mention about my record. I'm 11-5. Here you can see the games that I, missed. But I'm 11-5. Went 11-5 last week. We're 44-20 on the year. We're having a pretty good season in Pick'em so far, and let's just keep on rolling because this has been a great season so far. So we have week 5. It's starting off. It's Bears and Commies. And I don't know what you want me to say. I mean, this is about as easy of a game to predict as any game you'll ever find. The Bears are the worst team in the league. I could go on and on and on and on and on about how bad they are, but I won't. I don't know. Just watch other videos. And, I don't even think I should give any explanation for picking the Commies over the Bears. I don't know how it's 89-11. The Commanders are a far better team than the Bears. This should be a 99% game or something. It is not on any level or degree close. The Bears are going to get destroyed. They're going to get dismantled this week. And I'm not going to expand on that anymore because, the Bears are just the worst team in the league. And the Commies have been playing decently okay. So next up we have Bills and Jaguars. And I'm going to pick the Bills. The Jaguars, yeah, they beat Desmond Ridder. They beat the Falcons. They bounced back, kind of. That game was just whatever for me, right? I don't know. It didn't really change a lot about how I saw the Jaguars, even though I did pick the Falcons to win last week, which was just a brutal mistake. I think that was just on me, because Desmond Ridder is that bad, and I didn't realize it at the time. But, the Bills are just a far better team. They're on a streak right now. They've been rolling. Josh Allen looks like the MVP of the league. And the entire team is just absolutely rolling. I can't wait for Von Miller to be back. What this defense is going to look like is crazy. Texans, Falcons, and as you can see here, the Texans are actually favored, and I'm gonna roll with it. I really am. Houston's been looking good, and the Falcons' defense isn't exactly great. Now, they did cause problems for Bryce Young, who I thought coming into the league was going to be better than C.J. Stroud, but C.J. Stroud has just been lighting up the NFL. He has been putting this league on notice. The entire league. And the Falcons aren't exactly a great defense. They're not going to be, the biggest test. And speaking of big tests, he played one last week in the Steelers, and he absolutely lit them on fire. Okay? And I get the Steelers' defense hasn't been performing as well. And the Steelers aren't a good team either, but we'll get into that later. But, dude, I absolutely love what the Texans have been doing. I love C.J. Stroud. He's been playing better than Bryce, but I don't think it's Bryce's fault either. I think Bryce would be probably just as good with the Texans as C.J. Stroud is right now, if not better. But C.J. really is that guy, and he is a lot better than I anticipated him to be, especially coming into the league. He's a great QB. He really is. And, and another thing I like is that he improved. Because, before when he was at Ohio State, he didn't really have that pocket presence, that it factor, He didn't have it. But once he hit that Georgia game, everything clicked. And he's been playing like Georgia C.J. Stroud, this entire year. That game changed something in him, and it changed him for the better. And I'm just so excited for the Texans. And if you want me to talk about the Falcons at all, we could talk about a lot of things. I already said I didn't like their defense exactly. I didn't there's a lot of things about them that I don't like. And I knew that they were a one-dimensional team. And it showed. You stop the run, you stop this team. And it's even worse than I thought it was going to be because Desmond Ridder is just one of the worst, if not the worst, quarterbacks in the league. I mean, especially with Zach Wilson and Justin Fields having good performances this week, like, he's pretty much the consensus worst starting quarterback in the NFL. And this Texans defense hasn't been playing too bad either. So, like, this isn't going to be a good game for Atlanta. And they're not going to bounce back here because the Texans aren't an easy team. But we're speaking of easy teams and we're speaking of rookie quarterbacks. Bryce Young, I feel so bad for him. I mean, the Panthers have graded out as one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They are one of the worst offensive lines in the league. They're a turnstile. They're not the worst because the Giants do exist, but they're really, 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 really bad. And this Lions pass rush has been sneaky good. I mean, as the number 2 overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson has been balling out. And the Lions they're on a roll. They're on fire. And they're probably going to win this division because nobody else even looks like they're close. I mean, the Vikings, I would say they're actually the biggest threat, even though the Packers do have a better record. The thing is, the Vikings just lost a lot of close games, and they're now pretty behind. But they're not the worst team in the world. But I think the Lions are going to crush the Panthers. This pass rush is going to put Bryce Young in hell. And the Lions offense, especially with Jameson Williams coming back, oh Lord. Yeah, no, this isn't going to end well for Carolina. And this is probably the hardest game to predict of this entire week. Titans, Colts. That one, I mean, the Titans are just so on and off. Like, they've had 2 really good games against the Chargers and the Bengals, who you would say are quality opponents. We don't know about the Bengals, though, because, this defense just dominated Joe Burrow. But Joe Burrow didn't have a healthy calf, and he just doesn't look the same. He's a shell of himself because that pocket movement, it really did shelter a lot of the weaknesses in Cincinnati's offense, especially in their O-line. And without his pocket movement, Burrow isn't able to do a lot. It's just so, and I think that Anthony Richardson, he is so good. Jonathan Taylor's likely coming back. I think they'll do fine against this defense, and I think their defense will do fine against this offense. Again, it really depends on what Tennessee's offense is able to do, because sometimes they're just completely dead in the water, and sometimes they're actually going to come to play a football game. And but I think with the Colts providing resistance, either this is going to go into overtime or the Colts are going to blow it out. And I'd take that chance. I'd take that chance with Indianapolis. I'm gonna go for them, to win this game. I'm gonna go with the Colts. Giants at Miami. This is another game that I just don't feel like there is even a need to expand on. Miami's gonna crush the New York Giants. 70 points. They might get that again. And they're gonna break the sack record, maybe even. I could more than see it. It really is that bad in Miami. In New York, in New Jersey, in East Rutherford, where the Giants play. It is absolutely awful. They are absolutely awful. The Giants' season is probably over because they have no offensive line. Daniel Jones has just been playing awful behind his bad offensive line. $160 million. You can say just about anything. Whatever you want. But this Giants team is just garbage. And the Giants just have them. The Dolphins are going to just destroy them. They're going to get cooked. And as for the Saints and Patriots, this is an interesting game and one that I had a little bit of trouble predicting. Because let's just be honest, both of these teams are really, really bad. This isn't going to be a fun game to watch at all. I don't think anybody's really going to be watching this game because it's just not a good game of football, really. Both of these teams have bad offenses. Really bad. Derek Carr hasn't been good all year. I mean, the Bucs defense just been destroying him. I've been saying for a while that Derek Carr isn't good, and the thing is, like, it became really hard for me to pick against New England because I really did believe they were a good team, but I mean, after what Dallas did to them, Mac Jones getting benched, and I get it. Dallas is a really good team, but man, and then week 3, they looked really bad. Their offense looked really bad against the Jets. Their offense just isn't going to cut it. So what we're here for now, like, I mean, there's just a lot of bad matchups for the Patriots is what it comes down to for me. Like, I think the Saints might be able, Patriots defense, first of all, is really, really injured. Like, especially in the secondary. Christian Gonzalez out for the year. Marcus Jones, Jack Jones with the suspension. Like, they're down to, like, their CB4. They literally had to trade for J.C. Jackson, who's been struggling all year. And, well, getting J.C. Jackson back, I mean, it's fun. They fleeced the Chargers. That's always fun to think about. But, I mean, Jesus. I think this Saints team will have an okay time putting up 17 points. They can do that. They can put up 17 points. I mean, they have talent on their team. And the thing is, the Patriots receivers going up against the Saints secondary, I think it's impossible. So, I think I just have to roll with the Saints on this one. Ravens and Steelers, and again, this is just another game that I don't have to expand on. Fire Matt Canada. The Steelers are garbage. Jesus, their offense sucks. I think this probably is the year, and I know that this probably has been said a lot of times before, but this is it. Either the Steelers fire Matt Canada this season, or this is probably going to be the very first year of Mike Tomlin's career that he has a losing record, period. I mean, and I get it. Oh my God. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's Mike Tomlin. He won't have a losing record, no. With this offense, who wouldn't have a losing record? Unless you fire Matt Canada. And Kenny Pickett's has been looking awful this year. It's been bad all around, and the defense hasn't exactly been playing up to par, but they've also been playing some really good opponents. But CJ Stroud, I mean, that's a rookie quarterback with a not great situation around him. Like, they weren't able to do anything against him, and I get it. He has been on fire, but, man, you want to see more out of that defense. And if this defense is going to continue to kind of underwhelm like that, then this is going to be a light work, easy game for the Baltimore Ravens, especially for their defense. Like, this is a scary season for Steelers fans. They might have a losing record this year. This might finally be the year. Eagles, Rams. Now, as an Eagles fan, I am obligated to pick my birds every single week, but man, am I scared for this game. I mean, this isn't a bad Rams team at all. This is a very good team. And this matchup does scare me. Now, let's just talk about the Eagles on the offensive side of the ball. Jalen Hurts. I mean, this defense is basically Aaron Donald. Like, you just double team him with Landon Dickerson and Jason Kelce all game. I don't think I'm too worried about the Rams defense, like, at all. Because, I mean, they don't have anyone besides Aaron Donald. And Aaron Donald is certainly going to make an impact. But with this Eagles offensive line, I mean, this is one of the best offensive lines in the league. What I'm a lot more worried about is our defense. You heard that silence. I mean, it was that. Thinking back to that Commies game, man, that was brutal for the defense. And now we're going up against probably somebody who's going to be a better quarterback, Matt Stafford. The thing is, there's no secret on how to beat this Eagles defense. It's pretty easy. You just get the ball out fast because, as long as you dial up anything good against quarters coverage, which, I mean, they have a great head coach in Sean McVay who probably knows how to do that. The Eagles defense is just going to get cooked all day. Doesn't matter how many pressures we're going to get. We're never going to get home if Stafford's going to release the ball in under 2 seconds. It's just not going to work. So I think that the Rams could have us on upset alert. I think the Eagles have to come in with their best game this year. I think that this really does depend because the Rams' offensive line isn't very good. But how much is that going to impact the game? Will the Eagles' passing defense be able to hold up just enough? Will Sean Desai actually make adjustments to make Matt Stafford hold on to the ball just a little longer so D-line can get home? We'll see, man. But that defensive side of the ball, that scares me. That scares me, dude. Okay. Bengals and Cardinals, and I get that 64% of people picked the Bengals, but, dude, I don't have any confidence in this team at this point. I mean, unless I get like a massive update that Joe Burrow's calf is healing well, I can't pick Cincinnati right now. Jonathan Gannon and the Cardinals have been playing way too hard and way too well. They should get more credit. And look, I didn't like him in Philly, and I don't think he was good in Philadelphia. And I get it, he did get a little overhated just because of how bad he was in Philly, but he wasn't good. I don't think he was good in Philly. I really don't. Probably better than Desai's doing right now, slightly, but oh my God. I mean, but he clearly turned a new leaf with Arizona. I can't deny that. Like, his defense is playing hard. I mean, his players are playing for him. The Cardinals aren't an open tank bowl contender anymore. Like, they're not, gunning for the number 1 overall pick anymore. No, they're actually a real team, and they will play everyone hard. And the Cincinnati Bengals, with Joe Burrow's calf, their offensive line, they need to win this. And I just don't think they will, because Joe Burrow's calf is injured. I think Arizona's pass rush, I mean, even though they don't have a lot of players, they'll get to him just because of how they play for Jonathan Gannon. And again, the Bengals' offensive line isn't very good. And if you're able to get pressure on Joe Burrow, who's basically a statue in the pocket at this point thanks to his injury, it's not going to look good for Cincinnati. And I think Josh Dobbs and this offense can definitely do just enough. Even though the Bengals' defense is good, they're overworked because they have to stay on the field too long because the Bengals' offense just can't get anything done. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals for this one. And then Jets Broncos. It's gonna be the Jets. I mean, Russ has been playing good this year. The offense has been all right, but this Jets defense, first of all, is really, really good. And Zach Wilson is probably gonna have a field day against the Broncos defense, especially with how he did against the Chiefs. He played relatively well. He played a pretty good game. Not like an elite game or anything, but for Zach Wilson standards, it was incredible. Because, I mean, nobody had any faith in this guy. But he pulled off a good game for probably the first time in his career. And now we get to see what he looks like against the worst defense in the league. He might just take this away and just run with it. This is an opportunity. And I think the Jets are going to capitalize. And I think that they should win this one by double digits. Chiefs, Vikings. And I can't go against the Chiefs, but this is going to be a fun game to watch, y'all. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I mean, I think that this one's just going to be fireworks, as it always is with the Vikings. Because the Vikings just don't have a defense. I think Mahomes is going to pick this defense apart. I think they'll win. Not exactly by a lot, because the Vikings are just that feisty, but they'll always lose close games. That's just what their motto has been this year. They did win one against the Panthers, but I mean, that's the Panthers. The Panthers are the Panthers, right? Like, the Chiefs are a different beast, and the Chiefs are going to put the Vikings, back in their place, and they're just going to win another close one. But the Chiefs have been looking like a little weird. They're a little off their rocker right now, a little off their game. Maybe it's the distractions with Taylor Swift and everything. I don't know. But I'm still going to pick the Chiefs, even though they do look off. But, expect that to be pretty close, because I like the Vikings offense. Cowboys, 49ers, and look, I get it. I'm a biased Eagles fan. I'm a Cowboys hater. Boo-hoo-hoo. I'm picking the 49ers all day, every day, okay? And I get it. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be a good game and everything and all that, but first of all, the 49ers have had the Cowboys number in the playoffs. Every time they meet, they have Dallas completely owned pretty much. And I think that they're just a freight train. Dallas, first of all, they lost to Arizona, which is already a bad look. But that might just have been a fluke game. I can definitely more than believe that. That could very well have been a fluke game. And you know what? Hey, I would take that. But to say that they're going to beat the 49ers? They have been blowing out a lot of bad teams. I get it, but this 49ers team is just a freight train. It really is. I don't know how many teams can beat this 49ers team right now, really. Even the Cowboys defense, as good as it is, can you really stop all these guys? Can you really? And the Cowboys offense is just if the defense isn't there to save them against the 49ers defense, it's rough, man. It's rough. This 49ers team is straight up the best team in the league right now. You just can't argue that. And they might be one of the best teams of all time if they keep this up going into December and January and February, if they even make it that far, which they more than could. And now it's Packers-Raiders, and the Raiders are just going to be a bad team with another top 10 pick this year. They're not good. Josh McDaniels should have been fired after last season. He wasn't. Clearly a mistake, and the Packers are probably going to win this game. I just don't think it's close at all. The Packers are just a lot better of a team. Jordan Love is going to absolutely dominate against the Raiders defense, which isn't good. The Raiders offense has been pretty anemic. Maybe they get a little more going than usual against a bad Packer. Joe Barry isn't good, but that doesn't make the Packers defense bad, because they do have quite some talent. But in terms of how this game's going to go, I don't know, 24-14, I would say. So, 38 points. It's not going to be the most exciting game in the world. It's going to be a game, but I think that's about it. I'm going to pick the Packers to win this one. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because the Packers are just a better team. All right, bye, y'all.